Does anybody know if Joy Taylor has a twin or anything? Because that sounded like Joy Taylor, that looked like Joy Taylor, but it sounded like a completely different person from what we just saw earlier. It's like,
are you still the same person?
What happened to I only care about passion that he has for his job, and that he's just like really passionate about what he does, and he just wants to continue to elevate in his life and what that doesn't sound like what we just heard there, now does it? What's up, world? Welcome back to Cancer Thoughts. It's your boy Better Days here. One of the things that bothers me the most in the world is inauthenticity. I really hate it when people say things that they think other people want to hear because they want to avoid conflict, or because they care so much about people liking them that they end up just being a very fake version of themselves. And now I know a lot of people say this or whatnot, and the minute that you say anything that's counter to anything that they may believe or what they deem to be true or whatever, it really bothers them, and you can see them get noticeably uncomfortable. And I promise you, I'm not one of those people
at all.
And one of the things that I've noticed very recently, especially since I've been an adult, is that there are a lot of people who are walking through the world lying and just doing it on a regular basis, and so much so that they actually have started to believe their own lies. And it's just something that's really sad to see. Today I have a video from the Earn Your Leisure channel with Ian and Rashad, and they very recently had Joy Taylor and Taylor Rooks on, and the question of whether or not they could date men who made less than them came up. And I think both Taylor Rooks and Joy Taylor were flat out lying on this, and I'm about to show you guys a clip from that very soon. But before we get into that, you guys already know what I'm about to ask you guys to do. Need you guys to hit that like and subscribe button for more content. I'm trying to make sure as many people find this channel as possible, and the only way I'm gonna do that is with you guys' help.
Could you potentially be with a man that makes less money than you? This is always been an interesting topic to talk about.
Yes, I could. It's not that interesting to me. I could. It's not a thing I really think about.
Yeah, I agree with Taylor. I mean, I understand that there are certain standards that people have for themselves that are in this space, and it becomes a very spicy topic on the internet because we get to these extremes with it. Mm-hmm. But the reality is, why, and what? Like, what would they need to make, and why would they need to make it? So if I'm going to be with someone, the amount of money that they make is really only relevant if they are unable to do the things that I like to do. It doesn't matter that they make as much as me or more than me. It's just like, can we live the same kind of lifestyle?
See, and that's where, to me, it just gets completely disingenuous. The fact of the matter is, Joy and Taylor, you haven't spoken yet, but you guys make a fair amount of coin. The fact of the matter is, for someone to be able to do the things that you like to do or whatever, you live a lifestyle that's predicated primarily on your earning potential and the amount of money that you make. So for someone to be able to do the things that you do, they would also have to be making the same amount of money that you make. So that's very disingenuous for you to just say, well, it doesn't matter, it only matters in that I like to do certain things, and if they can't do those same things, then we aren't compatible or whatever. It's like, for someone to be compatible with you based on the things that you just said, they have to make the same amount of money as you, or they won't be able to afford the things that you do.
But also, I'm 37 years old, so this does not apply to, say, a 22-year-old woman in the same way that it applies to me. I've been in the workforce for a very long time. I have all of the things that I need to provide for myself. So it's not really a conversation about money. It's more about passion. To me, I just want to be with somebody who is passionate about what they do. Are you excited about your career, or are you excited about the next step in your life? You know, how much money you make is really irrelevant. What is relevant to me is that you have passions and you are, a disciplined person who enjoys what you do.
Straight capping. I could be the most passionate garbage man in the world. Okay, Joy Taylor would not give me a shot in hell. This is so bothersome. And listen, I don't necessarily think people aren't allowed to have their standards. People are 100% allowed to have whatever standards that they want, and good for them for having them. But the fact of the matter is, don't lie about them.
We know what it is.
You talking about you just want to be with someone that's passionate about what they do. Joy is a very attractive lady here. There are tons of men probably beating down the door to get to her or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, you don't give all of them a shot, because there are obviously certain benchmarks that you have for yourself that if they don't meet those benchmarks, you don't even give them the time of day. And the fact of the matter is,
that's okay.
you care about what they make. Just say that. Talking all this nonsense about them being passionate about what they do. Would you be interested in a guy that was passionate about being a mailman? Like, what are you talking about? This shit is just, it's so bothersome to me that people can't just be authentic people.
And if you don't enjoy what you do, what are you doing to change that? So the amount of money that someone makes is really not very relevant to me. I mean, I have a saying that really generally pisses people off, but the only thing a man can do for me is love me. Like,
why does that piss people off?
There are tons of men out there who are willing to love you. They just don't meet your standard. You are an attractive lady. We're not going to cap here, okay? Both Taylor Rooks and Joy Taylor are attractive ladies. They have men probably beating down the door to get to them, okay? For you to be single, and I don't necessarily know Taylor Rooks' relationship status, but from the way Joy just answered that question, I can tell that she's probably not in a relationship right now. So for you to be single is probably single by choice because you are an attractive lady. So this nonsense about all you care about is, you know, him being passionate about what he does or come on, like, really?
Well, because we live in a patriarchal society where that is just not accepted. Like, I don't need someone to pay my bills. I don't need someone to get me to Cannes. I don't need someone to, you know, advance my career. I don't need someone to introduce me to, you know, rooms that I can't get in. And that's not meant to be like masculine or dismissive of what men provide. I just think that I truly can look at men for human beings and for what they are from a value perspective.
We do not live in a patriarchal society. We probably live in the most egalitarian society or one of the most egalitarian societies in the world. So the idea that this is not something that's acceptable or whatever, that again is cap. Sure, there's a certain small substrata of men who make all these billions of dollars and yes, they control the world. But for the vast majority of men, we probably have it worse than most women actually, now that I think about it. So the idea that we live in this patriarchal society and things are just frowned upon, but it's like we're not living in the 1950s anymore. It's the year 2024. Like, stop with this nonsense that you guys have been regurgitating for years because it's no longer true.
What kind of person are you? What kind of, you know, love do you provide? What kind of, you know, relationships do you have with your friends and your family? You know, what do you enjoy doing? How do you like to spend your day? Like, those are the things that matter to me, because whether or not you can provide for me is not something that I even think about. And I like that's the long way of what I think Taylor's saying.
Yeah, me, I'm just like, yeah, I would. No, I mean, I agree. It's like when I am thinking about my partner, like my partner now, I'm not thinking about, okay, financially, what does this person provide? Because I'm not in any need of anything financially. And when I am looking to date someone or be with somebody, it doesn't even enter into my purview. Like, is this person going to be supporting my life? Because I'm not entering into relationships for the financial aspect of.
All right, so I don't necessarily know if somebody sees this video and they know who Taylor Rooks is with, I would be very, very interested to see what profession he's in or what he does for a living, because it's very easy to say that the person that I'm with now is not even a fine, but if they already had that money to begin with, then it probably isn't a concern for you because you knew that they had it already. So I'd be very interested to know exactly who she's with. That's number one. Number two, again, it just sounds very disingenuous to me, and I may just be reading this whole situation wrong. Let me know in the comments down below if you think so, but all of this nonsense to me is like the idea that women don't care about men who provide or whatever. And yes, Taylor and Joy are in unique circumstances from other women or whatever because they do make their own money or whatever, but the fact of the matter is women look for men who are better than them in every aspect
of what men provide. To Joy's point, you know, I want them to have something that they're passionate about. I want them to have something they're working towards, you know, to make a living for our lives to still be, you know, what I want my life to look like. But there is no part of me that says, okay, they make less than me, I can't be with them. Or, okay, this person makes more than me, I can be with them. All
right, so out of one side of your mouth, you said we still want them to make enough to where I see my life and where I want it to be, but you also don't look at them. You see, like, you're talking out of both sides of your mouth here. You just said, but you also don't look at them for the financial aspect, and if they make less than you, it's okay. But then you also said you want them to make enough to where you guys can live the lifestyle that you want.
You can't have it both ways.
You cannot make this shit up, man.
So much more. I mean, I'm 32, and I'm just so much more concerned with how they love me. If I am being appreciated and respected and cared for and seen, how I love them, how I make sure that they feel appreciated and cared for as well. that the money is just not a thing that is always at the front of my mind. And I want to be very clear. That's also probably a luxury that Joy and I have. We're not having to think about money when we're thinking about partners because we feel very set. We feel like our lives are put together. I'm in no way saying if women care about money that they're wrong. I'm just saying for me, and I think for Joy as well, money is maybe a cool addition, but it's not the thing for me.
All right, cool. Now, I'm going to show you guys another clip, but before I do that, I just want to say this as well. A lot of people answer these questions like, could you do this and could you do that? And they're very, very disingenuous in the idea that, let's, for example, say that someone asked me, could I go empty out my bank accounts and give all that money to homeless people? Yeah, sure, I could, but is that something that I would actually do? Like, let's be 100% honest here. So the idea that you're talking about, yeah, I could date somebody that doesn't make this much money or whatever.
Stop the cap.
I just want to make that very clear here because a lot of this nonsense comes out of people's mouth talking about how they could do certain things, but the likelihood of you actually doing those things is slim to none. Let's just be 100% honest about that. Now, I want you guys to keep in mind everything that they just said and everything that we just watched them do, okay? This is a clip from Joy Taylor and Taylor Rooks' personal podcast that they do with each other from a few months ago.
These hypotheticals have got us in a chokehold, and we must free ourselves. It's fun to argue about. It's fun to talk about what you would do in this scenario, or would you leave the game if the seats were high, or if a man took you this place on a first date, what you would do. And I'm telling you, like, every interaction that I have with people now, in some way or another, these things come up. Can we just keep it a buck? If they're fine enough, if they're funny enough, or if their financial status is what you want. Fine, funny, fucking money. You're throwing all boundaries, standards, all that shit you talked on Instagram about how you would never, and this woman ain't because women this and men this, and you're moving forward with this person.
Does anybody know if Joy Taylor has a twin or anything? Because that sounded like Joy Taylor, that looked like Joy Taylor, but it sounded like a completely different person from what we just saw earlier. It's like,
are you still the same person?
What happened to I only care about passion that he has for his job and that he's just like really passionate about what he does and he just wants to continue to elevate in his life and what that doesn't sound like what we just heard there, now does it? And Taylor Rooks didn't necessarily like rebut anything that she said there in that little clip. I couldn't necessarily find the full clip from their podcast or whatever, but I'm pretty sure that I saw it somewhere and she pretty much co-signed everything that she said in that. So it's just, to me, it's just cap. Now, some people will say something along the lines of, well, people can change. This was from a few months ago and whatnot. People can change over time. To those people, I would say, shut the hell up.
It doesn't apply here.
Yes, people can change. Yes, people can change their perspectives over time and whatnot, but this was from a few months ago. People do not change that quickly. Let's just be 100% honest about that. People don't necessarily just flip their perspectives like that over the span of 2 months. Like, I'm not trying to hear any of that bullshit, and I'm gonna close off this video by saying this, guys. Yes, it's nice and whatnot, like you guys can have your standards or whatnot, and beautiful women are always gonna be sought after, and we get what it is. But for the vast majority of ladies, and this is something that I don't necessarily think most ladies really like take into account when they talk on most of these podcasts or whatever, is that you are an example to other ladies coming up. You are successful if you're Joy Taylor. You're successful if you're Taylor Rooks. You're both attractive women. Again, we're not gonna cap about that. You were both attractive women. But ladies that are looking to these women for guidance or whatever, and you look up to these women, you can aspire to be them in a professional setting or whatnot, and aspire to be as successful as they are, and that's good for you. What I would implore you guys to do is to not aspire to be them romantically, because these are the types of women who typically end up 60 years old talking about their accepting boyfriend applications like Vivica A. Fox was doing very recently on whatever fucking show that was. It's like, let's just be 100% honest here. You guys have the leverage now while you're still young and attractive. The fact of the matter is, success for you, understand this, okay? And if you're going to take anything from this video, I want you to take this. Success for men and women is completely different things, okay? For a man, the fact of the matter is, for us to be successful romantically, it usually has a symmetrical kind of correlation with our ability to provide financially or stuff like that. For women, it's usually inversely correlated. So the more successful you guys become in a professional manner, the less likely it is for you guys to find what you're looking for romantically, because you guys are looking for people who make more than you or are better than you you in some aspect of the term. Now, some women obviously are an exception to the rule and they can deal with men that make less money than them, but the vast majority of you guys are not willing to do that, and that's just a fact of the matter. And if you guys are making these decisions knowing full well that this is the likelihood of the things that you want in your life and how your life is going to end up,
Good for you.
but don't take cues from these women that are talking all this nonsense about how they can date lower status men or whatever, especially because they're currently not doing that. Joy Taylor, again, is an attractive lady. She's 37. She's reaching the age where the wall is coming at some point in time. And for her to be talking about, well, you know, I'm just looking for someone who's passionate or whatever, it's straight cap. So again, ladies, just understand what you guys are in for. And I'm not even going to belabor the point too much. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about this entire situation and what you guys saw in those two clips that I showed you guys. Do you guys think they're being 100% honest about everything they said there? I call cap. Obviously, I call bullshit, but it is what it is. We all have different perspectives or whatnot. As always, guys, I want to thank you guys for joining me on this video. You guys could have been anywhere else in the world, but you chose to be here with me, and I really do appreciate you guys. If you liked what you heard today, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you didn't like what you heard, thanks for watching the whole video. Consider leaving a comment in the comment section and telling me exactly what you disagreed with. Either way, thanks for joining me on this video, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.